Okay. This is going to be interesting.
Okay, yeah, I just opened it up now, just ready, just, well, I just.
Should we have a quorum? Dave, Wayne, Wilson, Peter. Wayne. We have a 6-member board.
Yeah. Will, are you there?
Good evening.
Yeah, there it is.
I thought maybe, but I just want to confirm.
We're just having a little difficulty here, so I'm just trying to. Peter's on.
Just testing our audio. Joan, can you hear us? Anyone hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can hear. I can hear fine.
Oh, I know. I had trouble connecting to the network.
Oh, I have instructions if you need them.
We should be really quick tomorrow. We should all on the same page.
We're starting at 3.
If we do 30 minutes, I'll be surprised.
I think I'm gonna need to update myself.
Jim's-
Yeah, it's not letting me in for some reason.
I just checked your email. I sent you the instructions to connect to it.
Well, I can't get into my email.
Oh,
You have a hotspot? To get to your email?
No.
It is, but we just need 2 elevators. Okay, so. Get on the elevator.
Let me get back to that page.
So it's not easily. And the reason I
supposedly gave me,
I want this building for 6 years, I should know this, but.
it's like a right hospital.
Yeah, because there's two drives. That's- I should know this, right?
Yeah.
I know.
And it's. Yeah. Yeah, self-registration.
Should realize it's like-
It's supposed to.
Over 2 years.
See, it's not the right page.
Wayne, is there a reason you need to be on, or you just would prefer to be on?
No, there's not really.
No, I was just telling him to be on since I couldn't get that camera to work.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, we're recorded, so
So,
we should be fine.
all right. We'll just announce.
We just got.
Oh, Lee just got one. Cool.
So that's not cool.
So,
So I'm already know.
did we get it to work?
So, yeah, partially. We have the sound working.
Okay, well, Dr. Allen is coming over, so she had the same problem. So,
Cause yeah, we didn't have a problem yesterday, but I guess Shannon.
Emily,
Yes.
you're in the third floor conference room?
Yeah, it's that the camera for whatever reason is not registering on the Zoom, so I can't pick
So,
the room.
so what I was told to do yesterday is unfortunately, if you shut down and come back up, it actually worked really nicely.
Okay, can I give you control while I log off?
Oh, that's interesting. Sure, I guess.
That way it doesn't kick everyone else off.
Yeah, that would be good. So yeah, see if you can give me control.
Okay, I'll be back on in a bit.
Thanks.
It's not, like, it's not showing me the option for the room. And
Yeah,
I
like
tried
restart,
reading
did you start the
it. Okay, so it- So you restarted it with this in it, or you removed
And
it?
then these on the two
Oh, I
ticket
did not.
spot.
So you have to restart it, remove it.
Here we go. Yeah, hey.
You got it. You got
There we go. Great,
it. Don't tell your count.
third time's the charm. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we can start.
Okay, great. Hello, can everyone see us now?
Yes, we can see you.
Okay, great. We will, thanks for your patience. We will call the meeting to order at 6:16. Okay. And then here in the third floor conference room is Emily, doing our technical stuff. I'm Wayne Beeler, I'm the chairman. Michelle Mayfield is here, she is our solicitor, and Jerome Skrinkowski is here as our consultant to planning. On Zoom, we have the planning commissioners Nelson DeLeon, Peter Rye, Leah Olson, Will Simfisi. I don't see Bob. Is Bob there? Yeah, I don't think Bob's with us today. And then also with us is Shannon Calori from zoning, Timothy Kroll from Public Works, Bethany Ayers Fisher from Public Works, and I think everyone else are applicants. So,
Jamal was listed.
and I guess Jamal's listening in from his office. So thank you for coming, everyone. First item on first item on the agenda is to accept the agenda. Do I hear a motion?
I move to accept the agenda as presented.
Okay, thank you, Will. A second?
Peter seconds.
Okay, thank you, Peter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And we have an agenda. First item on the agenda is the Elm Street Daycare Final Annexation and Land Development Plan. And I'll turn it over to Jerome.
Okay. The 1010 Elm Street Daycare Annexation Plan and Land Development Plan was submitted some time ago. It's been through a few reviews in the past. This review is dated April 11th, 2022. The plan itself involves 6 parcels of land located at 1010 Elm Street. The purpose of the plan is to join those 6 parcels in common deed for the purposes of also for the daycare use on the property. As I mentioned, there were previous comments that were issued. The comments that were left pertain to some minor issues, such as item number 3. We had asked the zoning office to verify that the statements are consistent with the testimony that was provided by the zoning hearing board. Comment 4, with respects to zoning compliance in the R3 district, we believe that everything is in order. This again is something that we just want to make sure that the zoning office is comfortable with as well. The local emergency management providers have reviewed the plan in the past, but we're asking them to just double check it, make sure everything is satisfactory. There will be some minor improvements with this project, and a municipal improvements agreement may be required. This plan, like I said, has now been approved for planning modules and other related requirements. We are recommending that the preliminary / final plan be approved, subject to the comments that are represented within the April 11th review letter.
Okay. I saw Dan on the call. Does Dan have anything to add?
Can you hear me?
Yes, Dan, thank you.
Oh, okay. No, I think Jerome covered it pretty well. We have this, the DEP zoning, planning module approved. And I guess Jerome, the emergency management people are going to look at the plan and get back to us if there's anything. I don't know what they could do. The Mulberry Street's so narrow, the alley, if there is an emergency there, they got to work with an old city. That this city was designed when fire equipment was pulled by horses and pumped by men. So, I don't really think that we could do anything as far as layout that would expedite any kind of emergency problem.
Your
Um,
internal layout, the access aisles and the site driveways, they meet our ordinance requirements, so I'm sure everything is fine with them. But we'll just want to double check. One last
Okay.
point for checks and balances.
I can add the nonconformities to the plan. I'm just in the process while waiting for the meeting to get going is typing on the planning module data from DEP. And I can put a note on the plan that anything requires the building permits from the city. So the only question is what kind of municipal improvements do these small projects need?
These would be we're talking about driveway, or I'm sorry, not the driveway apron on this one. The sidewalk, curbs and sidewalks, we had asked Public Works to verify the condition of the sidewalks.
Do you have any comment on that, Tim?
Yeah, our inspector looked at it, he had some comments, and I forwarded those to Dan. And I would say that they're fairly minor. I don't think it's going to be excessive. I don't know what the planning commission wants as far as a recommendation for municipal, but if that's the only thing, I would say this is minor, the amount.
What we can do is we can, if they'll be agreed to it, we can do a very short agreement and just provide that a certificate of occupancy shall not be issued until the improvements are constructed and approved.
I think that would be satisfactory. They have quite a bit of improvements to do inside the building. So while they're doing that work, they can complete the outer materials under their bank financing. And if the city is in agreement with that, then that seems adequate to me. The other thing is they are intending to move ahead and build the fencing and the play area and complete the internal renovations on the building.
Yep, Public Works would have no problem with that. If this were just a regular building program and it was just sidewalks and curbs, Public Works would not require a bond or any type of escrow for that. So I don't see any problem with going the route that you suggested there, Michelle.
So no escrow, just that no CO shall be issued until,
That would be fine with Public Works.
and no stormwater agreements required?
There's no stormwater improvements on this plan. None
Just always like
required.
to confirm.
Yep. And yes, Public Works is in agreement with the letter and everything else is approved.
Who prepares the developers agreement?
Since this is a different, rather than the standard city agreement, I'll do it.
Okay,
It's not gonna be the standard city agreement, it's gonna be probably a third of it. So I'll prepare that circulated.
and with everybody signing electronically, I don't sign my seal electronically, and I'm sure my client doesn't get the notaries electronically. How many copies does the city want delivered that are signed and sealed then?
We should only need one, right? Ellen? Yeah. Yeah,
Just
we should
one?
only need one because we'll scan it in. And then,
Okay,
and then we'll send it through the DocuSign. And that way, usually we sign it within a day that way.
does the city record it with the recorder, or do I get it back and I take it in and record it then?
That's a discussion that we're gonna finalize tomorrow. So if we can notify you tomorrow as to what our recommendations are gonna be going forward.
Okay.
Are there any other comments on this plan? With that, do I hear a motion for conditional approval of this plan with such that the plan will be approved when the comments on Jerome's April 11th, 2022 letter are resolved to the agreement of staff.
Lee Olson makes that motion.
I was just gonna ask if we authorize the agreements to be signed upon approval of council.
Okay, I can do that separately. Second on that motion?
Peter seconds.
Okay. And all those in favor? Please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and then we need to make a separate motion because I missed something.
Just to keep the projects moving, authorize the chairman to sign the agreements upon approval and satisfaction of council.
Oh. Do I hear a motion that the chairman can sign the agreements and forward them to council for their approval?
Nelson De Leon, so move.
Okay, thank you, Nelson.
You're welcome.
And a second on that?
Lee Olson will second.
Okay, thank you, Lee. Question on the motion? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Okay. Opposed? Very good. Okay, and we will, thank you very much, Dan. Of course, I think you're up next, so.
Yeah. I
Next on
think
the
so.
next on the agenda is the Prince and Princesses Daycare Annexation and Land Development Plan at 936 and 938 Penn Street. And I'll turn it over to Jerome.
Okay, this is the Prince and Princesses Daycare Annexation and Land Development Plan. This is a very similar project to the one we just had. This involves two lots that are going to be joined in common deed as a result of an annexation located at 936 and 938 Penn Street. There will be some revitalization and conversion that's required for this project. We had asked Public Works to verify the curbs and sidewalks improvements on this project. The planning modules have been approved for the site. And the same thing will hold true with this one in regards to an improvements agreement, if necessary, for the curbs and sidewalks. There are no other municipal improvements, no stormwater management improvements. And we are recommending preliminary/final plan approval, subject to the comments in the April 11th review letter.
Very good. Do you have any comments, Tim?
Yeah, I agree with everything that Jerome just reviewed as far as the recommendation for treating this one like the previous one with the improvements agreement for driveway access to the rear and also the any sidewalk improvements out there on Penn Street. Everything else is accurate and approved by Public Works.
Do you have anything, Dan?
No, I think we're all in agreement with this one.
All right, with that, do I hear a motion to for conditional approval of the Prince and Princesses Daycare Annexation and Land Development Plan with noting that the applicant needs to resolve all planning commission comments from Jerome's letter dated April 11th, 2022.
Lee Olson will make that motion to approve.
A second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Will. Question on the motion? And all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, very good. And
The agreement would be the same thing as the previous one. Certificate of occupancy would not be issued until the improvements are done to the satisfaction of the city of Reading. And I would assume that Michelle would handle this one the same as the previous one.
Yes.
Very good. We're in agreement on that. Do I hear a motion that I may execute the agreement upon arrival and forward it to city council for their approval?
Motion.
Is that Peter?
Yep.
Okay, second,
Nelson second.
Nelson?
Yes.
Okay, question on the motion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? There we go. We got another one done. Okay, next on our list is also for Dan. This is the Iglesia Pentecostal Movimiento de Fe. The church on the 1200 block of Schuylkill Avenue, if I remember correctly. This is a preliminary land development plan. And I'll turn it over to Jerome.
Okay, this review was conducted on April 19th, 2022. This is a preliminary just a preliminary land development plan. It involves two parcels of land, one located at 1124 Schuylkill Avenue, and that is where the church will be located. And the other is at 1119 Luzerne Avenue, and that's where the worship facility or worship center will be located. There are a number of comments within this review letter, and I'm going to just summarize them as best as I can. Moving over to comment 5, you'll see a lot of comments regarding site accessibility, driveways, and off-street parking. As you may recall, this development did depend upon the improvements and site accessibility for an alley or alleys that divide the property and will provide the access. The driveway along Schuylkill Avenue will also need to be reviewed and approved and permitted by PennDOT. That's just for the one point, and that's that same driveway, a point of ingress and egress, or it may just be a point of ingress now, and the egress point may be on the south side of the church, as I recall. So there'll be a little bit of a change in site accessibility. We had also mentioned that the sidewalks along the frontage of Schuylkill Avenue and Luzerne Street be evaluated by Public Works to make sure that they are either in good condition or if sidewalks need to be provided along Luzerne. You've taken past actions on if there are no sidewalks in the general area, that the sidewalks would still be required. The emergency management services should also review this plan. Since the alleys will be utilized, they will be 22 feet wide in some sections to provide two-way access, and then there will also be just for one-way access along the in between the two. There were a number of stormwater management comments that will need to be addressed as part of this project. And there will be a municipal improvements agreement as well as planning modules. So this plan still needs a lot of work, and therefore we are recommending that we hold it at a preliminary plans stage at this time.
So you're not recommending.
I think, Jerome, I think we had discussed the planning module, and this was a restaurant at a former time, so that the flows from the church is way less than what the former use was. So I don't think.
I'll need Public Works to verify that, just to agree with it.
And Dan, did you provide a narrative like you've done on the other ones?
Yeah.
Just describe that?
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing that. Jerome, did we get that? Is that in the FTP server? I'll have to have Deb review that to see if that's satisfactory.
I can send that along again if you don't have it.
Why don't you? Yeah, I'm still trying to get access to the FTP server. So
And
to get those.
I would prefer just to discuss the site accessibility and stormwater management issues with staff, including Tim. And then we can go over that at that time. And then maybe next month, if we're all in agreement, we can go with preliminary plan approval.
Yeah, I'm just, it would be good, Dan, if you could send it, because I want to clear that up just to make sure we don't have planning modules and have that be a holdup, because that's a big lead time item. If it's acceptable, then great, we're off and running. But if we have to have planning modules, you know how long that takes. So yeah, Dan, if you could shoot that over to me, and then I'll review it with Deb.
I can get that over to you tomorrow.
Okay.
As far as getting this as preliminary plan, we're just getting the information into PennDOT. Greg Borges is doing that for us since we had that misconnect with Mr. Dimmerling in the city. So that is on its way, but that's going to be maybe a couple months out. So it's the planning commission, would they want to do a preliminary plan approval without PennDOT, or would it be conditional?
I think we got too much to review with site accessibility without PennDOT. So I would prefer if we have the meeting with staff members, Public Works included, just to make sure that we're all on the same page before the project goes any further. We may also want to include the neighboring property at that same meeting, because they have an interest as far as site accessibility, and this is the laundromat.
We covered all that ground pretty well during zoning with the laundromat, and that laundromat was all set up with a recorded plan when the restaurant and the laundromat was a single property, and they divided the land down the driveway. So that
staff has gotten additional comments from that landowner, so we just want to make sure that we've addressed his concerns. So I'm recommending that we table this.
Yeah. Also, we usually require at the preliminary plan stage that you at least submit the permit for the HOP.
Greg Borgia has already started the process. And
so, and Greg's very good at it. So I don't think it's going to be a problem.
Dan, I think in next month we'll be at a much better position.
Okay, that's fine. I don't see a point in wait. You got a lot of stuff to go on here. I can't see spending a lot of time on this one.
I do have a question though. I noticed that there's an electric pole there with transformers on it at the back of the parking lot.
Yes, that's on the edge of the alley.
Okay. Where's the Med Ed easement for that? I didn't see it on the plans. There should be a 60-foot easement.
I doubt if it's a 60-foot easement.
That's usually what Med Ed wants.
It's a 3-phase.
Yeah, I mean, there's, I don't know if Emily can bring it up on Google Maps.
And that might be a good idea.
Look at that.
Yeah, Dan, this is Tim. That might be a good idea. This we ran into with another land development plan from last month, and it turned out that it affected the way that the property could be developed, because Med Ed does have, whether it's 60 feet or whatever, it could affect the way you're laying out your land development.
I will have to look and see if we can find that.
I don't know if we get to the rear.
Oh, just, yeah, now
Is that the
tilt it 90, you're a little too far. Go up the street a little bit. Okay, now turn to the left. I gotta go up just a little bit more.
Like in the driveway.
Yeah, in the driveway. Yeah, that's the Armax property.
okay?
This? The
No.
parking lot next,
I have to go up the street a little bit more.
no, opposite direction.
hang on right.
Yeah. Go up just a little bit.
No, up towards the restaurant a little bit.
Okay, there it is. It's behind this tree. It's this right here.
I see the other one.
And that one, usually when you got something like that, Med Ed requires a 60-foot easement.
You see the top of it on the where the restaurant was.
Yeah.
See the top of it? I think that's another pole.
Yeah, same. So probably that pole won't, but to get to that pole where those transformers are, I bet you Med Ed's gonna say something about that.
That pole that you're pointing on, you see it when you look over the roof of the restaurant there? Is that the pole you're looking at?
No, it's the T
Oh,
pole.
okay, that pole there, and then that connects to the pole up the alley. So they only have a 15-foot access to that pole. They connect together. I can't see how they get a 60-foot right of way through there, but we'll have to check it out.
Yeah, because there's a similar pole where the just off of Warren Street in back of Glenside Elementary School, and that one required a 60-foot easement. So, but all what I'm saying is that there's probably an easement there. It needs to be on the plan.
Yep, okay, we'll look for it.
Was there?
Motion table.
That's, so, yeah. So, Tim, do you have any other comments?
No, that's all I have.
Okay, any comments from the other commissioners?
I have no comments.
Okay. Very good. With that, do I hear a motion to table?
Lee Olson motions to table.
Okay, thank you, Lee. A second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Will. Okay, question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, opposed? Okay, very good. We will see you back next month on this one, Dan. That's all your plans for today, right, Dan?
No, we got one at the end of the program. It's a new one.
Okay,
Sorry about that,
Very
Dan.
That's number 14. So I'll be waiting in the wings here.
Okay, thank you, Dan.
Yep.
Okay, all right. Next on the agenda, we have the Hope Rescue Mission Subdivision Land Development Plan. And I'll turn it back over to Jerome.
Okay, as you may recall, the Hope Rescue Mission Subdivision and Land Development Plan was approved on February 22nd, 2022, subject to conditions. The applicant has submitted plans to reflect those conditions. However, in the interim, a new driveway permit application was submitted for another driveway for a point of egress along Greenwich. So the current plan does not show that. And if it's acceptable to Public Works, we would recommend approval. There are a few other items that we just wanted to check. As you recall, one of the conditions of approval was for municipal improvements agreement, which involved the curb, sidewalks, stormwater management facilities, and other site improvements that were required for the project. I don't believe we got cost estimates yet, but within this review letter, it does summarize all of the conditions that were previously identified in the previous review letter, and then added other comments which reflect the driveway. So if you want to just, this would be an update or to reaffirm approval, Subject to the comments that are now dated April 13th, 2022, I think that that'd be appropriate, and then we could work with the applicant to address these remaining issues. Tim, do you have anything to add?
Just a comment then, do you know, will that new driveway appear on this drawing that's being approved or being voted on tonight? Or will that be handled as a separate item?
I prefer, now that we know about it, it should be on this plan.
Okay, if it's on the plan, if it's not going to be on the plan, then we have to address it as a driveway, a separate driveway permit for construction, which we could do it either way. But if it's on the plan and it's being approved, then they can, this will act as the driveway permit.
I'm recommending that we put it on this plan.
Yeah, I agree. I think it should be too.
Is Tom here?
It's on vacation.
Tom is on vacation. Okay, good for him.
Is there, if we invited other folks from Hope Rescue, are they on the line?
Okay, very good. Hearing no one from representing Hope Rescue. Do I hear a motion to reapprove the final plan with conditional approval that all the staff comments will be resolved in the staff letter written April 13th, 2022.
Nelson De Leon, so move.
Okay, thank you, Nelson.
Mhm.
And do I hear a second?
Yes, Lee Olson seconds.
Thank you, Lee. Okay. Question on the motion? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Very good. We will we have that one taken care of. We'll move on to the next plan, which is the Medical Arts Building, the final annexation plan.
Okay, this is the preliminary / final plan application. It's an annexation plan. As you recall, the Medical Arts submitted a annexation and land development plan previously. Due to some issues that need to be resolved in terms of building code compliance, they have determined that they would like to pursue just the annexation portion and then table the land development plan for now. So the plan that they had submitted was a preliminary / final plan that reflects an annexation plan. The annexation plan would involve 226 and 230 North 5th Street. Those projects would be joined in common deed. We provided the comments that needed to be addressed and the notes that need to be placed on the plan for the annexation itself. A key item that we need to have in place before we can consider this plan was, did we get a review letter back from the Berks County Planning Commission?
Not that I've received recently.
Yeah, and I would look for one too, and I couldn't even find the original one.
I have that one.
Okay.
So
When was this submitted?
it was, when they submitted the plan, I strongly recommended that they submit the Berks County Planning Commission review. I don't think that it was submitted until maybe a week or two
Okay,
ago.
so it has not been 30 days.
No. So therefore, I don't think we can take any action on this plan at this point because of the county's review is not in. I don't see anything as far as complications. Is the applicant here? Is Alan here? Alan's not here to respond either. So I'm thinking we're tabling this plan until we get everything else resolved. It's not complicated to fix, and we should have this back next month.
Yeah, we can probably clear this up next month. Okay, very good. So we will table the plan until we receive the Berks County Planning Commission comments. Do I hear a motion to table?
Lee Olson motions to table.
Nelson,
And a
second.
second? Thank you, Nelson.
Welcome.
Question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Very good. We have this tabled and hopefully we'll be able to take care of this next month. Okay, next on the agenda is number 8. It's the MJ Ryder Final Annexation and Land Development Plan. And this one's come a long way. So I'll hand it over to Jerome.
Yes, this is a preliminary / final annexation and land development plan. It involves 2 parcels of land located at 103 and 107 Angelica Street. The parcels will be joint in common deed, and then there are minor land development plan improvements on the site, which involve a building addition of, I believe, 465 square feet. The plan also involves curb and driveway apron modifications that were previously reviewed and approved by Public Works. This project may also involve another improvements agreement that we could work out the same as we did in the previous application, since that's the only municipal improvement involved for this project. Tim, do you have anything to add to that?
I was going to say the same thing. I think I would recommend that modified improvement agreement that Michelle had used earlier.
Is there anyone from
Otherwise,
a-
yeah, everything else is approved on Public
Is there
Works.
anyone from MJ Ryder on the phone?
Yes, Brandon Bialik here from the Crossroads Group for MJ Ryder. I think you covered everything pretty well, Jerome. The plans pretty much remained unchanged from the last time you saw it. I know we were being held up from that Berks County Planning Commission letter as well. But now we have that in hand, so I don't know if there's any other questions, but I'd be happy to go into detail about anything.
Thank you, and we apologize for the error on your email address.
No problem, it happens.
We left off LLC, but okay. So my office is recommending preliminary / final plan approval, subject to the comments issued in our letter April 18th. And then secondarily, the second issue would then be the improvements agreement, the same as we did before.
Very good. With that, do I hear a motion for conditional approval upon with approval upon resolution of the comments from the staff letter of April 18th, 2022?
Lee Olson makes that motion.
And a second?
Peter,
Thank you, Peter. Question on the motion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Very good. And then do I hear a motion to accept the chairman to execute the modified improvements agreement and forward it to council?
Nelson De Leon, so move.
Thank you, Nelson. And a second?
Lee Olson will second.
Okay, thank you, Lee. Question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Very good. I think, and I want to thank the engineers or whoever was here. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, guys.
The Crossroads Group LLC.
Yes, thank you. Have a good night.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next we have the Alvernia Berkshire Building, final land development plan.
Okay, we've seen this project in the past. This is the Berkshire Building, which is located at 101 North Fifth Street as well as 501 Washington Street. This is for an adaptive reuse project or conversion, which involves a 21,022 square foot property. It will be utilized by Alvernia University as part of their foreign exchange student program. It involves 145 foreign exchange students. I believe the number of residential apartments will be 79. And what was required was that since the density or the number of students has increased and the number of occupied units will be increased, they had gone back to the zoning hearing board, which the zoning hearing board had approved Appeal 2022-13 on April 13th, 2022. So the decision would need to be applied to the plan. We would also handle this project the same. I believe we had discussed about if there were curb or sidewalk or driveway cuts that would be modified. We would require the same type of an improvements agreement. They have submitted a cost estimates for those improvements. And I'm not sure if Tim has seen those cost estimates, but I believe that they're on the FTP site. But regardless, I think we can handle it the same way as we just did the others. Tim, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I know I have not seen it yet. So yeah, I would like to take a look at that first. And the only other thing I think I have is the planning modules. And I'm reading some email correspondences between our Director of Utilities, Deb Hogue, and the developer Parado. And I believe it looks like they have the total requested sewer reservation. That was the big issue here where they've been trying to work this thing out. Because we can't move forward on the planning modules until we get what it is that they want to develop and the allotted sewer reservation in EDUs, so that can be requested by the DEP, get the modules and then forwarded them to the city. So it still has, the planning modules are still being worked on.
Can it be accomplished within 90 days?
That would be pushing it, but I think
It can definitely be accomplished. Jerome.
Are you there?
Yeah, this is Greg Boja.
Okay.
And then even talking with Deb Hogue, it seems that a module still might not be needed.
Oh, okay.
That's our general rule with outside agency reviews and permits specifically with PennDOT and DEP for these types of issues. So as long as it can be done within 90 days, we could recommend approval. If it goes beyond the 90 days, then we'll just have to reaffirm approval.
Yeah.
But I think we can handle it that way.
That sounds great.
All right. Any comments from the commissioners on this one?
None.
Hearing none. Do I hear a motion for conditional approval of the Berkshire Building revised plan of record with the condition that the issues on the planning comments letter of April 15th, 2022 are resolved?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, thank you, Peter.
Nelson second.
And a second. Thank you, Will. Question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 And opposed? Very good. And then do I hear a motion to allow the chairman to execute the improvements agreement and forward it to city council?
Make that motion.
Thank you, Peter. Second?
Second, Nelson.
Okay, Nelson, very good. Question on the motion? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Very good. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Keep this one moving. Thank you, Greg. Sorry, my paperwork is out of order. Here it is. Okay, next on the list, we have the subdivision plan for Reagan Station Building D, which will become a storage unit facility. And I'll turn it over to Jerome.
Okay, this plan was reviewed on April 15th, 2022. This is a preliminary / final subdivision plan. As you may recall, Building D would be subdivided from the rest of the tract at 600 Spring Street. This would involve that project itself was 20.53 acres. This subdivision would involve a 2.243 acre parcel of land, which would now be occupied, will be principally occupied by Building D, which would be occupied by CubeSmart. There were certain modifications that had to be made to the plan with respects to site accessibility. The applicant had made those revisions. However, it's a 22-foot wide access road that we need to go in and out of the site for two-way travel. The applicant has it at 20 feet, so it had to be widened by 2 feet. The applicant also needed relief from the zoning hearing board due to dimensional requirements that are specified for the MC zoning district. The zoning hearing board had considered the appeal. Appeal 2022-12 was approved by the zoning hearing board on April 13th, 2022. Those conditions would need to be applied to the plan and other comments that are outstanding. We think that the planning modules will definitely be a wash on this one as a result of it's going to be a self-storage facility versus the other uses that were currently being occupied by this site. There will be curbs, sidewalk and driveway apron modifications that will need to be included within an agreement for the municipal improvements. Property corners and monuments would need to be set. And I think that covers everything in the review letter. Tim, do you have anything to add?
Is there anyone here representing the developer tonight? Because I had a question with regard to those planning modules. I think we had requested that narrative that would explain what you just said, Jerome, and it would be good to get that so we can review it.
Yeah, I think we have already relayed that information to Scott Miller.
Okay.
But I think we can work that one out.
It does make sense. It just, we need to get that narrative.
Okay. So that would be noted too. That would just be added to comment 7 on my review.
Okay. Very good. Okay. Are there any comments from the commissioners on this one?
Lee Olson, I have no comments.
Okay. Should we wait for that narrative, Tim, before we move on this one, or is it okay to give preliminary approval?
Yeah, I would say that it probably, I think we discussed this with SSM before. It would be nice to have that, but I agree that, yeah, that this is going to have minimal, probably not even one EDU. I would doubt that they would be using 262.5 gallons per day in this facility. So I think it's fair enough to say that they would not need to have planning modules. It just would have been nice to have that for this meeting tonight. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that we would make that conditional, and with that narrative, we'd be fine. We would approve it.
Okay, and as Jerome said, that will be added as a line to number 7 on his review list.
Right.
With that, do I hear a motion for conditional approval, noting that the comments, that all issues on the comment letter dated April 15th, 2022 need to be resolved before signing.
Lee Olson will make that motion.
Okay, thank you, Lee. And a second?
Nelson
Sure.
second.
Okay, thank you, Nelson. Okay,
Welcome.
question on the motion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Very good.
Same thing with the agreement.
Okay. Oh, is this just a minor agreement?
It's a minor one.
Well, any agreement we should be authorizing you to sign.
Okay. Okay, do I hear a motion to have the chairman sign the agreement and forward it to city council?
Lee Olson moves.
Second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Will. Okay, question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Very good. So when that comes across my desk, I'll sign it. All right. Next, we have,
Mr. Chairman, do we know anything about the other plan? The status of that? Or the other part of the
Oh,
Reading station? Just curious.
good question. Well, that would be building Roman numeral 2.
Yeah, I couldn't remember.
That would be its own project, and it's my understanding that that is in review for the building permit with building and trades. The plan itself, I'm not sure we released that for reporting just yet. But we can just check on that. Does anyone know the answer to it for the building and trades question?
well, they must have received some sort of permitting because they're insulating that building.
Oh, yeah, there was meetings that was that they
Yeah,
had
I
with
know
building and trades.
Mr. Chairman, this is Jamal Abdallah. They did receive the building permits for.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. With that, we will move on to the Scott Street subdivision at 1325 and 1341 Scott Street.
This is a project that you reviewed and approved on February 22nd, 2022. There were some minor adjustments that needed to be made to the plan and a waiver that was needed to be added to the plan with respects to stormwater management, which was recommended for approval last time. The plan was brought in, the sidewalks we had mentioned before that were required to be placed along the frontage of Scott Street. Those were put on, and we had asked that they be slightly modified. There were also some slight modifications that need to be made to the plan. And I think everything's in place now. I just thought it'd be cleaner to reapprove this plan with the conditions that are outlined on the April 20th, 2022. I believe that is there someone here for the Scott Street subdivision plan? Craig, you here?
I'm sorry.
Craig, did you need to add anything to that?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I was muted. No, I don't really have anything further to add. I mean, basically, there's two stormwater waivers that were approved before, but the section numbers were incorrectly shown on the plan. We corrected that now. And I think that was really the only outstanding issue, other than a few minor adjustments we needed to make to the sidewalk and that sort of thing. We have all of our other approvals in place, the ENS and the planning module approved. So what we're really looking for is just a reaffirmation of the stormwater waivers and the conditional approval for the final plan.
And while we're doing that, if we take the same position with the agreement, there are only a few minor improvements. They have submitted the municipal improvements cost estimates. So I would say we handle it the same way as we just handled the other one, since it's a minor project.
I don't have an issue with that, except for I forwarded Craig the standard agreement, so wherever he is with those, whatever's easier.
Yeah, okay. Very good. Okay, any comments from the commissioners on this one?
And Mr. Chairman, as well, so the number of units is 4 now, is corrected on the plan?
Yes, that's been corrected.
Thank you.
And, okay, so I just need to. Don't need to worry about this, we did it. Okay, with that, do I hear a motion for conditional approval for reaffirmation of the project with the condition that the comments are resolved on the staff letter of April 19th, 2022.
So move.
Okay, thank you, Nelson. A second?
A second.
Okay, thank you, Will. Question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 And could I have a motion that I can execute the simple improvements agreement and forward it to city council?
Lee
I
Olson
move
makes
to
that
authorize
motion.
it. Go ahead.
Okay, and was that also Will there?
I'll second that.
Okay, thanks, Will. Question on the motion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much. Have a good evening.
Hey, thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Next, we have something new. Amazing. And it just, thank you for everyone's patience on that. There was a lot of cleanup items that came in all at once. A lot of the planning modules were approved all at once, so it was the perfect storm with a wave of applications. Yeah, but you know, at least get this squared away, and then yeah, hopefully things will be a little bit smoother. All right, next up, we have the Burn Street Car Wash subdivision and land development plan. The first plan we're going to take a look at is the preliminary plan for Lot 1, which is designated as car wash. Okay, thank you. This plan was reviewed by my office on April 22nd, 2022. This is a preliminary plan application for Lot 1, which is the car wash portion. This property is divided currently into 2 lots, one at 1725 North 5th Street, which is 1.82 acre site, and the other is 1704 North 6th Street, which is a 2.12 acre site, currently used as a salvage yard / tow truck operation, Vince's Towing. The property is utilized for just that sole purpose. The applicant intends to divide it and redivide it, I should say, in another fashion. So Lot 1 is the car wash and Lot 2 is a storage facility. This portion of the review, which is focused on the car wash, which the applicant has identified as a 1.81 acre site. The plan itself, we determined that there are certain things in terms of the dimensional requirements that need to be verified with the zoning staff, which we can, ultimately what I did is I recommended that a meeting be scheduled between the applicant and representatives of staff and other departments to go over this project in a lot of detail, since there's several comments that I think we could either
address just from a clarification point. And I don't want to go through these item by item tonight. But I think the plan can be modified eventually and brought back for a cleaner version. But maybe the best thing I could do is maybe have the applicant explain what they want to do with lot 1.
Okay, this is Joan London. I am on here with the applicant, Andrew Rowland, and with Greg Bogia. And we have looked over the review letter. One thing I do want to clarify is comment 6A about the number of spaces. Many of those are not parking spaces, they're vacuum spaces. There are 7 parking spaces on the site, but there are vacuum spaces at those stands, and I think that may be part of the confusion on that issue.
It appeared that there's 26 internal parking spaces within the existing building, and then there are 25 external parking spaces.
Right, and I am clarifying that portion of it. We're in agreement with the idea of a meeting to clarify some of the issues, particularly the accessibility issues that are contained in paragraph 8 of the letter. Greg, are you on?
Yeah, that's correct. Again, you can take a look at the picture that is on the screen. You can see that Burn Street's on the top and 5th Street is on the left side of the sheet. You can see where the vehicles would enter from Burn Street and then go through the pay stations, which is the 3 locations there adjacent to the building. Then the vehicles would enter into the tunnel. Once the car is washed, it would come out of the tunnel, make a left. And those first spaces there are vacuum spaces. We don't consider them a traditional parking space, which is why we had called them out as 7 parking spaces. They're on the right side of the cover sheet. And then the vehicles would make the right turn, still inside the existing building. They have additional vacuum spaces on the right, and those are the 7 parking spaces that Joan had mentioned on the left. And then once the vehicles exit the building, they would continue, then make a left through where the wording is lot 1 on the sheet there through that. And those were just proposed vacuum spaces. Again, because there's only really going to be 1 or 2 employees for this location. So the requirement for parking spaces was 3. So these are all really just vacuum spaces. It's not something you see a lot in Berks County where they have the overhangs for the vacuums. I don't know if anybody's Googled it or if you've seen that maybe in Florida, if you've been on vacation. You know, a lot of people go to Disney World down in that area. They have a lot more vacuum spaces and setups that are consistent with this. And this is just really the trend of the car wash industry at this point.
Greg, will this be electric vehicle charging stations?
No charging stations are proposed. That's what you see is really all the vacuum stands.
Because that's something I wanted to raise as a potential use for other sites. And I just briefly discussed it with the zoning office just to see how they would handle that use and see if that was something that your client would be considering as well.
We haven't overly discussed it, Jerome, but at this point, a car wash isn't a place where you would go and hang out for an hour or 2 while a car could get recharged. You know, most people will probably spend 5 or 10 minutes at a car wash. So I don't think that he'd probably be looking for it here, but Andy, if you feel different or Joan, just let me know. But I don't think that would work here.
The idea is to move the cars through and in and out, and that in the plans is the way the traffic patterns have been arranged.
All right. That's fine. I mean, we could work that out directly. There are also a number of stormwater comments that we will need to go through. Most of the stormwater comments, I think, are related on lot 1. There are some crossover with lot 2. think the same comments were provided for both.
That's correct. We'll work through those.
Yes.
So we could set that meeting up. We could either do Zoom or site meeting, whichever your client feels more comfortable with, or as well as I obviously want to have Tim there at a minimum, including Dimmerling and Hartman as well from my group. We also would probably should have zoning staff as well.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if this is too quick, Jerome. I'm pretty open on Friday. If there was time with your team, because I know we're trying to get our next submission back in probably by the 3rd of May to get back to you.
Let's try and schedule a Zoom meeting then.
Okay.
To see if we can work this out. We could start the ball rolling tomorrow, Greg.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Jerome.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
That's correct, Jerome. If you want me there on Friday, it would have to be a Zoom meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm also available on Friday.
It'd be the same for me as well. So let's pass some emails around, and if any member from the planning commission wants to be involved with it, that's fine. Just let me know.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And then we can address both of these projects. Lot 2 again is the storage facility.
Right, a lot of the comments are similar, including some of the stormwater, curb and sidewalk issues, access issues, very similar comments.
Okay.
All right. So that takes care of items 12 and 13. Okay. Does anyone on the planning commission need any further clarification?
Yeah, any comments from the commissioners?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, this as well. First of all, I think this would be a good project because I mean, it's definitely something we don't have like that. And there certainly is a need for it in the city. Many people don't, they can't wash their cars. They don't have driveways or alleys or anything like that. So I think this definitely would fill a need if people end up doing this kind of thing in the street, if they even can do that. I did want to validate the concern about the traffic circulation with that intersection there on North 6th Street. So I hope everything can be worked out there, because see, while vehicles are traveling northbound on 6th Street, if they go all the way, a block past George Field north, and they come to that Eastern Lane where the railroad bridge is, it's like a blind turn to turn right, or even really to turn left. I'm sure Public Works knows what I'm talking about, and so it's preferred to turn left off of North 6th Street, westbound, to come up 5th Street to the 5th and Burn, or 5th, 5th and I don't know if that's Easter Lane or they call it Rockland there, and make a right there instead, so that one can proceed through the railroad bridge, the tunnel underneath it more safely. I don't know if Public Works has looked at that, but that's a different issue. So anyway, yes, even though it's an industrial area, there would be, I'm sure, some traffic occasionally, so that would be something to keep in mind. And I'm looking at the plans and I can't find it now. I thought I saw somewhere. I went by there today, but it was so fast I didn't look. Is there a billboard on the property? Because is that intended to be kept? Unless I'm mixing up with a different plan, I thought I saw that on there. I can't find it now.
There was an existing billboard and it was to be kept. Thank you for the positive comments with the car wash and the need for the city. We look forward to probably working with the planning team to discuss access at that Zoom meeting. So you're welcome to come. Mainly, we had kept a lot of the similar accesses, what was out there, probably the one that was closest on North 6th Street that you had mentioned. But yeah, we look forward to working with the team to discuss those, and also the existing one that we had just maintained there on 5th Street. So, but we'll work together with them on those, Will. So thanks again.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I had brought it up because, Mr. Chairman, as you mentioned a couple of meetings ago, and you were quite right. There's a whole series. Well, I don't want to say series. The access to billboards. So this one might be easier because the way it's positioned. But access to billboards is definitely something that we have to be mindful of because the equipment that is needed to get in and out. And I'm thinking where this one is, they don't have to traverse the whole lot to get to it, like the project we had on the Warren Street. So maybe this one won't be so bad, but it is true. You were not being overly dramatic, Mr. Chairman, when you brought that up before, when we were considering another project on Warren Street with a different billboard recently. But I'm sure it could be worked out. So that would be. If whoever owns that billboard would be contacted because it's kind of surprising how much equipment is needed to, how much space they need. But I guess I'm sure it could be worked out. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, that is an important point. I forgot that there was a billboard on this site.
Is it on lot 2?
It's on lot 1, closer to Fifth Street. If you look into the plan, it's right near where the building ends and the very first outdoor vacuum spaces would begin, where you see those 2 ADA spaces. It's just to the left and slightly north.
That's a proposed billboard, not currently.
Yeah, because I remember Mr. Becker, I forget who Mr. Becker, what firm he's with, but he was representing Lamar for on that Dunkin' Donuts property on Warren Street, and that took months to resolve.
He and Joan are with the same firm.
Yeah, yeah.
You're muted, John.
Sorry, Joan, you're muted.
Yeah, no, we do represent Lamar, and Dan was representing Lamar, but hopefully this can be resolved easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Do you have any other comments on this one, Tim?
The only thing I might add is planning modules. Have we advanced anything on planning modules?
Yeah, you're going to see that one next week, Tim.
All right. Yep.
We're going through that will serve process right now.
Yeah, and
the letters for that.
I guess, I don't know if you're going to show up at this meeting, but you mentioned about the railroad tunnel. I'm not sure how that involves this property. Because that's kind of a half a block away.
Yeah, good question. Thank you. Given that it's an industrial area, one would think there isn't much traffic there, but I'm thinking there might be because people would prefer to turn instead of having to negotiate that railroad. That's what I do.
Oh, I see.
That's why I brought it up.
Burn, make the left on Burn, make the right go down and swing around so you get a more direct approach to the tunnel. Is
exactly what I mean, right.
All right, yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying.
I doubt I'm the only person who does it that maybe, but
Yep. I see what you're saying.
I don't know what you could do about that, but I don't want to get off track, but
I just didn't quite understand it.
To turn right, a driver turning right cannot see oncoming traffic coming through the tunnel westbound.
Not until after you make the right turn. That's true.
Yeah.
Yep.
And even making a left is some, leap of faith because you can't see, turning westbound.
Yes. Understood.
Thank you. Yeah, good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's all I have for now.
And any other comments from the commissioners on either the car wash or the proposed storage facility?
I'm fine, thanks.
Okay.
Lee Olson has no comments.
Okay. Very good. So do I hear a motion to table the Burn Street car wash lot 1?
Lee Olson will motion to table.
Second.
Lee? And Nelson?
Yep.
Okay. Question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm,
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. And then, do I hear a motion to table the Burn Street Storage Lot 2?
Yes, Lee Olson will motion that as well, based on conditions of site visit and follow-up of Jerome's letter.
Great. And a second?
Well, second.
Okay. Very good. All those, question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, very good.
Thank you,
So we'll
everybody. Have
try-
a great night.
Okay,
So we'll
thank you.
try to schedule the Zoom meeting on Friday.
Right,
Planning commission members who want to attend, that I think we should just limit it to 2.
Yeah.
Just to avoid any.
Yeah, I am not available Friday. I will let one of the other commissioners go. Fine.
yeah, I'm not available either.
Neither am I. It's too early.
Let me think. When's our meeting, Emily? Is that at 3? That's at 3 o'clock on Friday? Wednesday. No, we have a meeting with Public Works.
Yes, it's at 3.
Yeah.
We'll try and make it at 11
Okay. Yeah, I would be able to make
or
that.
in the morning, maybe anywhere between 10 and 12. We'll try.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that sounds perfect. Thank you.
all right, thank you.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Good night.
One house cleaning item that we, before we forget, is Alvernia Berkshire Building. We might not have, we have a first for the action on the plan for approval. Peter first made the motion, Will seconded it. I don't know if we had a vote.
Yeah, I have it as 5-0.
5-0.
Yep.
And then for the improvements, Peter made the motion, Nelson seconded. Was that also approved 5-0?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I take my notes. I used to work for the Reading Eagles, so
Okay.
I take all the votes.
All right, so
Okay, so we will move on to the Auto Repair Center at 600 South 9th Street.
This is a project that was submitted, and we're working with the zoning office as well as the applicant, who's the equitable owner of this site. This property is located at 600 South 9th Street. It's located within the MC zoning district. They would like to do a auto repair facility within an existing building. The site itself is 32,230 square feet. The buildings, they're, depending on how you view them from an aerial, may be considered all one or grouped together or connected in somehow, some way. They have submitted architectural renderings, elevations with their zoning permit, which was denied. And I think that should be brought back into eventually with the land development plan application itself. The land development plan will focus primarily on the use of the property, site accessibility. The curb line would need to be possibly modified, driveway cuts reestablished. Those are the main issues. Dan is here on behalf of the applicant. Hopefully, Dan, are you still here?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. There are going to be about a total of 8 cars that can park within inside the building. This will not be a facility that has exterior parking. It's going to be inside. There are other issues that have been brought up within our review letter on some things that might be of a concern, but I'd like to have Dan maybe give the presentation.
It's kind of an interesting building. I believe it goes back to the Reading Brewery. The northern part of the building is currently being occupied by a tenant that makes, I think, cleaning products. And so the southern 2/3 of the building has been kind of neglected. And there are some upstairs portions or areas that front onto access with 9th Street. And then there's ramps that go into the basement area, which is what they want to make the auto repair shop. The young fellow who wants to open up the repair shop wants 2 lifts there. I put information on the plan with 2 employees. The sewage will be very minimal. The sewage traps are in the floor. They just have to rebuild have a plumber verify that the piping is okay and rebuild the toilet facilities. There's quite a bit of internal work that needs to be done to get the building back into shape because of its neglect, and they would like to get moving as soon as possible. As far as the curb cuts, they bought or they're intending to buy the building with the curb cuts being useful to access the building. So we weren't planning on modifying any of the curb cuts.
As far as the narrative is concerned for sanitary sewage disposal, do you think you could prepare a narrative for this project as well?
I have it on the plan, but I can write it down a little fuller.
Yeah, okay, that's right. I do recall it was on the plan.
Yeah.
Dan, as long as you're mentioning that, do you have any historic sewer planning approval for the lot? Do you know what it was approved, if it was approved by the DEP, or are we going to be using the fallback, 1 EDU per lot?
I have no idea. The northern part of the building has been occupied since the 70s. They moved in after Reading Brewery moved out. So they've had sewage facilities in there, and everything is connected. It just hasn't been used in a long time. Let me see if I can open up here.
And you say it's currently in use. Was it in use, do you know, like 10 years ago?
Well, the northern part of the building's in use now.
Yeah. I mean, there's ways of getting around, or there's ways of establishing existing sewer approval. And one is to go back 10 years to see what the flows were when the last Act 537 plan was approved, or to see if it'll exceed 1 EDU per lot. That's established. How many lots do we have here, Dan?
Well, you don't have any lots. It's a building that is, I wouldn't consider them a lot. I think they.
It's 1 lot.
In the ordinances, it allows a flex building. So
it's
what they plan to do with this building is unknown at this time.
Right. So it's 1 lot then. 600
Yeah.
is 1 lot.
It is almost completely covered with the building. The only open space is on the south side, adjacent to the building, adjacent to what used to be a former railroad siding, I believe.
The architect, it's in the denial.
Okay.
Something that might help you out, we're going to check to see if we have it here, that within the denial of the plan, there was, the zoning permit that was presented, there was architecturals brought in, so maybe that could help everyone out if we have it.
Okay.
What I had note 9 on the plan, I have existing sewage lateral is present, restroom areas are to be improved. The estimated sewage flows are 2 service tech at 35 gallons per person per day, which would be 70 gallons. So what they're anticipating is a very minimal
first one
use here.
This may help everyone out. This may help everyone out a little bit with seeing how the building's laid out.
This is upside down. Can you flip that?
I do not have those capabilities on my,
That's okay, Emily, don't worry.
sorry about that.
Jerome, this is Lee. When you say there were submitted architectural renderings, I'm looking at page 4 of your April 23, 2022 letter, and all I see is some sort of industrial siding put on one side. I don't have anything that resembles renderings in my opinion.
Yeah, I was referring to what you see on the screen now.
Okay.
Lee, this was submitted with the zoning permit, not with the land development plan.
Gotcha,
And
understand.
I thought it would be best if they could submit this information as part of the land development plan.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
In comment to Lee's comment there, the majority of the building is brick. The southern part of the building there, part of it was enclosed with metal galvanized tin. And but the majority of it is a fairly nice looking brick building if it's cleaned up and improved.
Yeah, I'm looking. I'm looking at the photograph on page 4. The bottom photograph in the upper left-hand corner of that photograph has some very nice detail work of an arch over the transom window.
Yeah, it's a nice building. And they intend to these old buildings tend to be a money pit, but they intend to improve it and bring it back to life.
Okay. There you go.
I think in your comments on how many lots or how many uses are in this building, I think there'd be some other uses that could maybe come down the pike, but at this time they have no other use than to expand for the automobile repair.
Yeah, I like to establish a note that is in agreement with the staff on what the definition of flex space would mean or entail. And so that your client understands the limitations that they would have for future, for adding additional uses within the site.
If you look back in the zoning letter that was written with the denial, they're the ones that mentioned flex space. So if they will provide a definition of that, I'd appreciate that. But my understanding of flex space is that they can subdivide and petition and you have different uses in a building.
All right. Yeah, we'll work on that and get you a note on the plan. There is no definition for flex space in the ordinance.
Yeah, Dan, I have a question, if I could, about the access to the buildings. You mentioned about the curb cuts. Quite a bit of it, maybe even 50% of the frontage is driveway apron, sloped with a curb cut, sloped and ramped down to the street level from the sidewalk. Is the intention to leave it that way or just to limit it to where you would enter the building, where the cars would enter the building?
Well, there's other portions of the building that they haven't defined a use for, that's how you get into it. Because they enter in off of 9th Street and that's the only way you get into the building. And if you cut them off, you'd have to make it into some other kind of space.
My concern is that there are other places where they do automotive repair and they end up staging the vehicles in the right of way, like on the sidewalk. And having that length of ramp might tend to allow that. And we would prefer that the vehicles go into the building for service and not on the sidewalk for service.
Well, that was the zone. If you look at the zoning decision, they were supposed to have no parking outside and all parking was supposed to be inside. So that's why we took a great deal of time getting the traffic flow through that basement area and providing the parking spaces that is required for the two bay garage. I also checked with my mechanic and looked at, and I sized the bays and the lift areas in relationship to what my mechanic has in his building, so that that is something that can actually work.
Okay, I think at a minimum, we'd need at least a note on the plan to indicate that all the repair work would be done in the building and off, outside of the right of way.
Not just repair work, I confirm, No parking on the,
Right, yeah, no parking, no staging, all work, the vehicles would be inside the building.
I think we got that, but we can make that a little clearer.
I'll work it out with
That
you there.
that was the intention of the original zoning, that all
Right.
service work is inside the building.
Right,
But we,
Yep.
we can certainly expand that note and make it perfectly clear.
I appreciate that.
This plan hasn't been reviewed by the Berks County Planning Commission just yet. It's my understanding that it was submitted. So we'll need that review letter back. I think we consider this plan at next month's meeting possibly. So therefore, I'm recommending we take a look.
Jerome, the one comment you had about considering landscaping, what are your ideas for landscaping? Because almost the entire area of this building or the real estate is covered by building.
Planter boxes or architectural enhancements. If you feel that you cannot meet any of those types of site improvements, then we'll just need to discuss it further, but that's what we're looking for.
Okay.
We understand that you can't put trees on the property. It's mostly all impervious. So we're looking for beautification efforts.
Okay, we can look into that. So that gives me some guidance.
Isn't there on the south end of the property? It looks like some walls are coming down. I don't know what the red colored in the 3D rendering, what the red colored walls that indicates.
Yeah, right there.
but they're gonna be remote.
But it would seem to me that a place for vehicles to park, to be queued up, would be available on that south end.
The south end is currently occupied by vehicles from the neighboring property, and they need to be cleared off.
But in the rendering that is here, that section that's going to be tore down is showing cars parked there.
Yeah, well, that whole area has an apron, right? I'm just looking at Google and
Mhm.
Street View.
It does.
Yeah.
You're correct, Peter.
I'm sure they could figure something out in that space. Looks like there's some steel holding up the walls.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what's connecting the buildings.
What some of their intent is to purchase it from their property.
Okay, sorry about that. We were just having an internal discussion. With that, any other comments from the commissioners?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman. It's Will. Yeah, just some quick observations. It is, of course, the historic property where the Reading beer was brewed, and I agree it's an attractive industrial building with a style of architecture from that period. Just to add on to what was said earlier, I remember just a handful of years ago, there had been a fire, and it was reported at the time that the building was in use. I cannot remember what it was used for, but it was still in use, so I have no reason to doubt that that was true. That's all I have.
Okay, as Jerome mentioned, we do not have the Berks County Planning Commission review yet. So hopefully we'll have that for next month. Do I hear a motion to table 600 South 9th Street Auto Repair Center?
Lee Olson,
moved to
Lee
table.
Olson moves to table. Go ahead, Will.
Okay, I moved to table 600 South 9th Street.
Okay, and I'll put Will down as the second. All right, question on the motion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Very good. We'll see you next month then.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Okay. Someday I'll get this laptop to work the way I want it to. Anyway, next up, we have two items to review. The first one is the saldo amendments to section 515, 312B and 515, 312D. These are some updates to clear some of the language up in this for these sections. I'll let Jerome fill in some more details here.
Yes, it was determined that further clarification needed to be provided for change of use, revised plan of record, and minor land developments, which the provisions for each of those applies under section 312B and 312D. We also provided some definitions which would be improve the clarity of what is being requested under those provisions. We've had this discussion with a number of developers who fell under these requirements, and we felt that this was the best resolution to the matter. As far as any amendments to the zoning or subdivision ordinance, they would need to go to the Berks County Planning Commission for review and consideration. These were just submitted to the Berks County Planning Commission now. So we would expect that their review letter will be back next month, and we can consider anything that they have as well as what the Planning Commission members have at that time. If we have substantive changes, we would need to go back and have it re-reviewed by the Berks County Planning Commission. So having said all that, I think we can just table this for now.
Okay. This afternoon, I did send one minor adjustment.
Okay.
But that's the only thing I saw.
There may be others, so we'll
Yeah.
just keep along the same.
Any comments on this at the moment from the commissioners?
This is Will. I had reviewed it and I only found minor, I think probably fewer than you did, Mr. Chairman. I think it's good.
Great. Okay. As Jerome did, if you review this again and see anything, feel free to send him any corrections or comments. And we will probably take a vote on this next month. So do I hear a motion? Actually, this isn't, do we actually need to?
Yeah, we don't need a motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Yeah.
Great. Next is the zoning map revision for Albright College.
Okay, this project was brought to us in the beginning of the year. You made a motion to consider a revision to the zoning map involving a property that's owned by Albright College. The zoning is going from the MC to the R3 zoning district. As you may recall, the plan for Exeter Hall involved in an annexation, which parcels of land were joined together. And as we did that, then that parcel of land that was joined together was then straddled by two different zoning districts. Is the city of Reading's policy to, where that situation does occur, is to select one of the zoning districts. The R3 zoning district allows for the underlying uses that allows for a college or university. It's also located within the INS, Institutional Overlay District. So I think that's all fine. The council members will be considering, they have a public hearing scheduled tomorrow to consider the revision. You've already made your recommendation. I just wanted to bring you up to speed on where that is. Okay.
And I presume this is advertised for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And next, we have the Planning Commission Annual Report.
So as required by the Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code, the Planning Commission is required to submit its annual report to the governing body for consideration. We've passed out this draft out previously. It was cleaned up on comments that you had provided to me. If you see other comments that need to be modified as a result of this draft, please let me know. What we need to do tonight is to have an official action of, I guess, acceptance.
Yeah. Yeah, we usually do a motion of acceptance
Okay.
of the plan to be presented to city council.
Right. Yeah. So that being said, you are looking at a motion to accept this report. And then if there are any minor adjustments, we can still make them. And then we'll present it to council.
Yeah, I quickly reviewed it again. I didn't see anything. Did any of the commissioners have comments on this?
I reviewed it to Mr. Chairman. I'm ready to move the acceptance of the Planning Commission Annual Report for 2021.
Very good. And do I hear a second?
Lee,
Second
also second.
Okay, I'll take Lee. All right, question on the motion? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? And there we go. We have a annual report. Hey, 2 in a row.
Yeah.
2 years in a row, we have annual reports. I will turn this next section over to Jerome to give us updates on the plans that are stuck in limbo.
Either stuck in limbo or they've been approved by you. And I just wanted to give you a status report of where each of those are. Like I said, you may have approved these plans or they may have been tabled. We'll need to take action on 2 of these projects due to time extensions. So just real quickly, Albright College, Exeter Hall, you provided final plan approval already, and all the agreements have been endorsed. The plan has been signed by you and it's been recorded. So that's a big check mark and it now can come off. Dream Ventures, you approved. The plans still need to be signed and released for recording. I have to go back and check to see if we have agreements with this project, but they still need to go over some hurdles before this comes off our list. Habitat for Humanity, the plans have been approved. It's my understanding they've been recorded and the agreements are either in place or are in the process of being finalized.
I've been communicating with their attorney. There were some computer glitches. We spoke just before I left to come here tonight. So those agreements are in the process.
Hope Rescue Mission didn't need to be on this list because they were on the agenda earlier. So you've heard the update on Hope Rescue Mission. Iron Gate. Iron Gates is still in the preliminary plan stage. We've met with them on a couple occasions to provide them as much guidance as possible. I've attempted to touch base with them today to see where they stand. However, I did not. So it's my understanding that Tom Ludgate is on vacation. But I did communicate with other people at Ludgate Engineering. They will need a time extension. They provided us with the paperwork for the time extension, and the time extension was at least 90 days. I don't have it in front of me. Reason why I think it's 90 days, because the other one I think is 120 days. She's got it.
Yes.
So the date was extended to, I think the other way.
Today.
7:30.
Okay, yeah. So this one will be extended to July 30th. So I think we will need a motion on that.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to accept the extension for the Iron Gate Land Development Plan until, what was that, July 30th? Until July 30th.
Lee Olson moves.
Okay, thank you, Lee. Second?
Peter,
Okay, thank you, Peter. Question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
aye,
Opposed?
Okay, this item 17F, Medical Arts Building. Medical Arts Building, as I mentioned, was being split into two projects. The annexation you considered action on. The land development plan, however, will need an extension. They've submitted a time extension on this project as well. This is the one I think that went
8:31.
8/31. So the Medical Arts is looking to have the time extended to 8/31. Again, this is as a result of building and code compliance issues.
Do I hear a motion to accept the plan review time extension until 8/31 on the Medical Arts Building?
So move.
Thank you, Nelson. And a second?
Peter,
Thank you, Peter. Question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
aye,
Aye. Opposed? Okay. there we go.
Going through the list yet, O'Neill Storage Facility and Land Development Plan, we granted preliminary plan approval. The applicant's next step would be to submit a final plan. Overlord Real Estate, you have approved the final plan for this project. Don't know if they have the endorsements yet, or they provided for PC signatures. Have they?
I haven't received anything recently.
Okay,
but I-
we still need a plan to reflect all the conditions and for you to then decide, so that's where that stands. Remcon Plastics, this plan was approved by you as well. The municipal improvements agreement drafts were submitted and approved. So this plan can be released for recording if it has not been already.
I don't know if we've received the escrow or not.
Okay.
The agreements were done, I just don't know what the escrow.
So the escrow still needs to be resolved. The Solano Banquet Hall, they have a conditional use hearing scheduled for tomorrow before City Council. The Scheibner annexation plan was approved by you, and it's my understanding that they brought in electronic copies for signatures. They have been endorsed, and there are no municipal improvements with this project, so it can be recorded.
Well, they have to be signed first. They submitted the final plans to be signed, and then I'll
Okay,
send it around.
scratch that. They'll be forwarded for your signatures. Supernatural Produce 3, you have approved this plan as well. There needs to be the municipal improvements agreement. That has not been done yet, so this project is on hold until they resolve those matters. As you are also aware, they also need a PennDOT approval on their HOP. The Villa Independence Cottages, they were in the preliminary plan stage, they still are. And the applicant will need to bring back a revised plan. And I think that that may be on our agenda next month.
I received an inquiry as to whether this commission would accept written comments due to the conflict of the person wanting to provide the comments. Are there any objections to receiving written comments? It's from a neighbor.
Oh, no, if I need to, I'll read them into the record if, yeah, but we'll accept those, sure.
Okay. It came to me late yesterday, so I didn't have a chance, and then we looked at the agenda again, and it was not for action tonight, so I told them.
Yeah.
I will let them know.
So that concludes all the projects that have been previously considered as old plans, project updates, and pending plans.
Very good. Okay, under announcements and other business. Yesterday, Lee, myself, Nelson, and Peter attended the municipal planning code review, which went very, very well. I think we all got a lot out of it. So I wanted to thank everyone who was able to attend for that. Oh, Bethany's here. You still here, Bethany? Maybe she fell asleep. We had a greenhouse committee meeting this morning. And once something is presented to council, I'll give some more details and updates about that.
Excuse me, Wayne, you saying a greenhouse?
Yeah, there's a committee that's been put together to reopen the city to renovate and reopen the city greenhouse.
Oh, I see. Thank you.
So that's something we're working on, and but I can't say too much until something's presented to council.
Understand. Thank you.
Okay. Let me see here. Is Jamal still here? No, I'll email him then. And note here about zoning, but I forget what that's about. So
that might have been in your part of your NPC review.
So yeah, might have been, but yeah, that like I said, that went very well. Just make sure. Oh, zoning means the zoning hearing board. That's what that means. Just wanted to review 3 things that are coming up for the zoning hearing board for May 11th. First one is 615, 617, and 619 Walnut Street. Ken Pick with the Berks County Nonprofit Development Corporation is proposing to annex the property as one parcel and is seeking special exception approval for adaptive reuse to establish 12 residential apartment units. Variances for minimal habitable space requirements and number of permitted studio units. So that sounds like something that will eventually come to us.
More than likely.
So I just saw it.
What was the address again?
615, 617, and 619 Walnut Street.
Thanks.
And it says this subject property is located in the commercial residential zoning district. So that's something for us to look forward to. The second one on the list that interested me was 1849 Perkiomen Avenue. Mark Ponce is trying to get this thing subdivided again, even though he was denied it by the zoning hearing board a few years ago. and he brought a land development plan to us at that time, and we pretty much said that it wasn't possible because of the street configuration and a few other things. It's a very complicated property because of the trolley used to run through there. And the city owns a little section. It's crazy. So I don't know why he's brought that back up again.
If the commission wants to take a stand and send a letter to zoning airport, you may do that.
Yeah, I might,
Wait,
well, actually, I got in touch with Ruth and I said, do you remember this was brought up a few years ago? And she's like, I do remember, and I sent it to Shannon, so.
but you may or may not have standing depending where you live as an individual, but if the commission wants to take a stand, they would have to vote tonight.
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah, I don't think it's that important. I don't think it's gonna go anywhere. Unless someone has an opinion about this particular one.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, that I do recall that was that oddly configured, like triangular parcel, which was almost a gateway to the city, coming westbound on Perkiomen. And there are garages there, and there's like you said, the island. It wasn't clear who was, it was city, but it was a question of maintenance for it. But we had the thought about the city possibly vacating a section of the street. Remember that? Is there anything that could come up? Would that facilitate that at all?
Actually,
that's what we were talking about, so that the parcel could be joined together better.
Right, that's what the city was actually looking for.
Oh.
But at that time, that administration that was the Scott administration.
Right.
And he didn't want to give up the parcel of land.
So maybe it could be more favorably received. We'll see.
Yeah. So with that, maybe would it be okay with the planning commission that I draft a letter asking the administration about that parcel of land in relationship to this zoning hearing, and have them have the staff present their findings at the zoning hearing board.
Wayne, this is Lee. I absolutely object. I mean, why are we speculating about projects that may or may not come before us? Why are we doing a little bit of gossiping? Shouldn't we worry about projects that come through the system legitimately? Why are we talking about something that may or may not happen? I don't think that's any of our business, and I think it's out of our purview. I just don't understand. Just my opinion.
Yep.
That's my opinion.
Yep. I just want to
understand.
I think, Mr. Chairman, that point would be well taken as far as the land development, but I think you were asking for the opinion about the street vacation, which would be something for us. Maybe a little outreach to the applicant by the staff, and well, he hasn't applied yet, or to fill out what the administration might think about that would probably be prudent, I think, even independently of any plan coming before us. So I don't think it can hurt to look into it, even if it's not an official letter. I understand if there's no plan, we're not talking about the plan here, but the vacation part of it. The street, there's no what am I trying to say? There's no throughway. It's like the city part of it is like partly blocked off. I mean, it just creates more problems for the city, I think, and as well for the applicant. It kind of ties everybody's hands that the project couldn't even move forward. So I think it's okay to look into that part of it, even if it's not going to be in the form of a letter. That's my thought on it. It's so hard for our colleagues to visualize this and understand because it is a little complicated, but it's kind of a mess. It's not the landowner's fault. It's just a legacy, like you said, of how the streets were laid out in the past.
Okay, I'll review this. I'll review this with Shannon and see if it's check on that, and because she's actually looking at the old one now. So, and then the last thing I wanted to bring up was 416, 418, and 420 Walnut Street. Walnut Street Properties LLC is seeking a special exception approval for adaptive reuse to establish 18 residential apartments, variances from the minimal habitable space requirement, the number of permitted studio units, off-street parking requirements, dimensional variances, and an appeal of the zoning officer's determination. So this is another one that looks like it might wind up with us.
Which one, which address was that?
416, 418, and 420 Walnut Street.
Yes, I would suspect that will be boomerang back.
Yeah, so I just wanted to bring these up so that Jerome, especially Jerome, sees this, because I don't know if Jerome's on the distribution list for this.
I am, and I'm somewhat familiar with all three of those projects. And I would expect them to come back to us somehow, some way.
Very good. All right, any other announcements?
Yeah, I just want to comment, Mr. Chairman. I hope Public Works is making progress on this problem of the stickers on the street sides all over the place and other signs. There's somebody is, it's all over the city. Somebody is putting these adhesive stickers with adhesive on our signs and partly blocking them. I tried taking one off here, and they're hard to get off. You can't get them off by hand, and I'm starting to hear people complain about it. So I know they're working on it. But I don't know what the plan is or what anybody's figuring out, or what the city's coming up with on it. But it's something that has to be addressed.
Yeah, well, we are aware of that, and yeah, it doesn't make any sense. They seem to be blank white stickers, and I don't know. I don't have a report for you right now. I can ask and see what the plan is for that.
Yeah, I read Public Works was trying to figure it out, and it is. It seems totally random, and and it's just a nuisance. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll see if I can have something for you next time.
Thank you.
All right, so we're up to number 20, the draft meeting minutes. I submitted a few grammatical things, but nothing of substance. Does anyone else have anything?
I think they were good also, Mr. Chairman. I think I submitted some minor edits, if anything. And I would move to approve the March meeting minutes.
I will second that motion.
Very good. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Lee.
You bet.
Question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, very good. Our next planning commission meeting will be Tuesday, May 24th at 6 p.m. It will be another hybrid meeting. So that I actually kind of like these hybrid meetings. It kind of gives us some flexibility. As in today, my meeting was a hybrid, and I was going to go in person, but I got stuck behind a trash truck. So it was easier for me to just go home and jump on from home. Okay. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Hold it.
Whoop.
Plan
20.
commission reorganization,
What's that?
the reorganization.
Oh, the reorganization. I'm looking at the wrong sheet. That's fine.
We moved it.
I'm looking at the old agenda. Okay, actually, I forgot something. We are up to number 20 on, and the Planning Commission reorganization. I think we will do this a little differently since we only have two offices. See here, how does this usually work? Will does someone put forward a name for consideration?
We typically ask for nominations.
Yeah, I think the chairman appoints a nomination committee and then they report, although I don't know if we're supposed to have done that by April or is that for May? I don't remember. And then of course there could still always be nominations from the floor, but we would vote on it at the next meeting. And you're right, we've only been electing 2 officers, I think, but I think in the bylaws we have 3 or 4, but I suppose we could just continue to let that be like secretary, treasurer, which are really obsolete.
Right. Okay. I think for everyone's benefit, we'll just take a nomination from the floor for chairman for the 22-23 year.
So I'm new to this process, but so what is, are we to vote officers for a 2-year term? Is that, and the term begins when?
Oh, it's for a 1-year term, and the term begins at the May meeting.
At the May meeting, okay.
Right now, Will is vice chair, and usually what happens is that the vice chair is nominated as chair, but you can nominate someone else, or you can nominate me. I am fine doing it for another year. Since we're still moving our way through the pandemic.
Yeah, I think for those reasons, Mr. Chairman, I would prefer to nominate you for another term as chairman.
Is that a motion? Needs to be second or?
Do you accept the nomination?
I accept the nomination.
Yeah, that's a good question. A nomination can be seconded, but it is not required.
All right.
And the question would be, are there any other nominations?
Are there any other nominations for chairman? Hearing none, I'll close the nominations. And I'll ask for a vote on I continuing to be chairman for another year. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, I guess I'm chairman for another year. And with that, do you accept to continue as vice chairman? For
yes, I would. Thank you.
Okay. With that, I will nominate Will to continue as vice chairman. Are there any other? Do you accept the nomination?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. And are there any nominations to be brought to the floor? Okay. Hearing none. All those in favor of Will continuing as vice chair for another year, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, very good. We have that taken, care of, and we can continue for another year.
And thank you. And yeah, just for the record, Mr. Chairman, if nobody objects, we will simply leave those other offices vacant.
Is there a bylaw or something that defines all this, or is it,
Are there bylaws or is it just by ordinance?
Bylaws.
Yeah, no, it's bylaws. I sent you,
Okay.
I think I sent you the
You
bylaws.
did not.
They
No,
need-
I-
Yeah.
They need-
The
I could have
original
that.
bylaws were written in 1923 and they have not been changed since.
definitely.
We, I sent a draft that Andrew did in 2007. And then I sent a corrected copy that Naomi did last year. And Michelle has agreed to look at it because Naomi sent it to legal and it got stuck there. So I asked Michelle to take a look at them and she has agreed to do so.
Yes, I think we did review. I mean, I don't think it was ever brought up at the meeting, but it was circulated, and I did submit my edit, but it never came up at the meeting. So now I understand why. Thank you for explaining
Yeah.
that. So yeah, definitely
so
it's
once-
something we need to take a look at.
Yeah.
There were a
So
few
once-
things in there like to update things with technology and so forth. So it would definitely be prudent.
Mr. Chairman, this is Lee.
Yes.
I would also like to recommend that within the next 6 months of your next term, I think I would like to really convene a committee of all of us to evaluate this ancient, in my opinion, archaic and out-of-date set of bylaws. I think it's absolutely asinine that we have annual elections of officers when we should have two-year terms. I experienced that at the County Planning Commission and it worked very, very well. I think we have too much of churn and rotation of annual elections of officers of only 2. There should be more. We should be doing more as a planning commission. We don't do any planning. All we do is just sit and review and approve. And I think we're not doing the city and the community a service by just being a factory that just churns out plans. I think we need to do some things coming up. There are a lot of things that are going on that we are left out of, i.e. the Downtown Plus plan. Where the hell is that? There's supposed to be housing study. Where's that? There's supposed to be a parking study. Where's that? There are a lot of things that are going on in the city that we are kept out of. And I think as a planning commission, we're becoming irrelevant. We're just a machine to knock things out. And I admire your dedication of 17 plus years. And I think the institutional memory and knowledge you have, we need to put that to good use. And instead of meeting once a month to grind stuff out in 2.5 to 3 hours, we need to start talking more about planning as a process. And I'm willing to be a part of that. I just think now this is becoming a rote thing. Without Shannon and without Jerome, we could not function. And I think getting replacements for them is a good idea, although I'm going to miss them when they finally, move on to the next big job because they've really upped the game of how we do things and we do them very well. Just look at tonight. We went through 15 items that, we're getting much better at, and it's because of Shannon and Jerome and our attention to it. But I'd like to see us start really doing some serious planning and really making waves with council and administration. I just don't think we're doing enough to serve the community as we should.
And in response to your comment, I think correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Beeler and I spoke briefly after the last meeting. I think your comp plan is required to be, is ready to be updated as well. So that's something.
And that's actually,
It's overdue.
That should be priority 1.
Yeah, Bethany,
Number 1.
Emily, and I are meeting tomorrow about that.
Tomorrow, Friday.
Friday.
We're meeting with Michelle on tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, we're meeting Friday at 3 o'clock to go over some things that Bethany has. that she brought up about, I forget what it was, Bethany, what was it?
I've been working on the climate action plan for the city. And it's been put fully into my purview since we started the process in 2019 due to staffing changes. And one of the trends with the climate action plans and sustainability plans is that they are actually turning into a comprehensive plan. So we do want to sit down and see where we can align so that way we're not doing duplicate work, and to fill in this team on what is currently in the plan, what we think, what you all think that needs to be considered, et cetera, as we move forward on it. And I'd be happy to do a presentation to this board on the plan in the upcoming month or so. Doesn't have to be in this meeting. It can be at another special session or something.
Yeah, we've been actually thinking about meeting twice a month. So it's just not something that we were quite able to implement yet. But because these are the type of things we need to do, like the comprehensive plan. Luckily, luckily we do have some staff now that staff and consultants that can be very helpful in the process.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
maybe
we've been all
Mr.
facing.
Chairman,
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Like, maybe Mr. Chairman, help expedite some of these tasks, which I'm not against meeting twice a month, if, while we have a lot of plans to consider. We could do a committee to look at the bylaws, and we definitely need, absolutely, it has to be number one priority now, the comprehensive plan. I've been bringing it up. Of course, we focused on all that work on comprehensive reform of the subdivision land development ordinance, and then getting this annual report, catching up on minutes and so on. And we have to get back to that. And Commissioner Olson's right. We don't really plan. That's about our only way, other than through the ordinance, is through the comprehensive plan. And it should pull in all those reports that he mentioned, and we should be participating in those. So, yeah, maybe that's the way, instead of taking up a lot of time at the meetings with the caseload that we have, workload. We could take a little more in-depth look at some of these administrative things that we really need to focus on.
Well, Will, this is Lee. I think you're right. We do have a high caseload, and that's a good thing. I think it's quite a testimony to the city and to our process that developers are coming to us with projects, big or small, big and small. And I think what I learned from the zoning hearing board is that they have a formal hearing where projects are presented and no decisions are rendered that evening, but they do have a workshop where they do go down that list of projects and they discuss because they can. And I think that's more of Michelle can respond to that, because that's more of a Justice Department rule and regulation as opposed to what we do. So maybe if we can look at cutting our meetings into two segments where we can spend some time being creative and being planning focused, I think that would make us much better and well-rounded members of this commission.
It just so that when zoning hearing board's a quasi judicial body, because they're making rulings, so they have the ability to have executive sessions. You would have very limited basis to have executive sessions.
Yeah.
Do we want to have a bigger commission if we're going to take on more responsibilities, have more committees? What is the commission size intended to be?
It's interesting you say that, Peter, because as Wayne referenced earlier, yesterday, we attended this planning session, and in the Municipal Planning Act, the limit is between 3 to 9 members. So we have room to grow 2 more. And that might not be a bad idea.
City ordinance provides for
City ordinance now provides for 7.
city ordinance.
But the NPC provides for up to 9.
The NPC says it.
Right, but we would have, but the city has to establish their number, so we would have to look at. the
Yeah,
city
understand,
ordinance.
understand.
Yeah, just so that we're all on the same page.
Yeah, it was, Mr. Chairman, for the new members, it was only recently expanded to 7 from 5, had been 5 for, it's gone different numbers over the years, but was 5 for a long time.
Yeah.
Can we also have non-commission members participate in committees? If we set up committees to go off and pursue some objective.
Because your commission is so small right now, and I say small, it's 6, you would have to be, it would have to be advertised meetings if the committees were just made up of commission members. Because then you could get into Sunshine Act violations.
Yeah,
I
that's
think,
right.
I think there are people that would be interested in participating in something like a comprehensive plan, not necessarily making a commitment to be a commissioner though, or plan commission.
Yeah, there's procedures to involve the community as part of your comp plan. That's different than that. Yeah, when you mentioned committees, I was thinking breakout groups of this commission. So if you're able to get a 7th member, you could have a committee of 3.
Yeah, okay. All right, so that's another thing to work on, would be getting a 7th member to begin with. All right. Bethany, was there anything else that you wanted to say?
No, I think I'm good. I'm looking forward to collaborating with all of you. And if I can be of any assistance, I am happy to do so.
Thank you so much.
It was great meeting you all and great job on getting through that huge stack of work tonight.
Very good. Does anyone else have anything for the good of the order? Okay. With that, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Peter. And a second?
Second.
Lee Olson will second.
Okay. And very good. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 And we are adjourned.
Thank you. Good night, everybody. Thank you again.
Good
Good
night.
job.
Good night.